So welcome back to another shop tour. We're finishing up on some projects here, but we have something pretty special to share with you at the end of the video, so stay tuned for that. And we're going to start that shop tour right now. All right, so we have the 1961 Chris Craft 17-foot ski boat. This one came to us with pretty much the hull done. There wasn't any hardware on it. There was no interior. We did have to manufacture the spring bases for this boat, which that is the bottom portion of the seat. So the interior's done kind of like a super sport with the tufted and rounded inlay in the interior. The customer picked out the colors, so this is kind of like a custom build, really. So in 61 is different than the 59 and 60s. The 59 and 60s had a piece of metal that came down here, so you can always tell a 59 or 60 ski boat. They always have a triangular piece of stainless steel that goes right here. Also, the interior would have been probably like a red and white. I think they did it in other colors. This one should have also had a white stripe at the top of it. It turned out really nice. I think it works very well, the color. Got a few things left to do, but we won't do that till the spring. So there is some chrome pieces for the steering wheel that needed to be sent out to the chromer and get done. And other than that, there's not much to do on it. There's a few pieces and it'll come back in the spring. We'll button that thing up. The engine's in there. Everything's hooked up. It's all wired. So we'll just test the engine here at the shop, in the boat, in the spring, and then go out and do a test run in the water and deliver it to the customer after that. So yes, we are going to get back on to the Sportsman. It's still here. Haven't made too much progress on it, and I'll explain that in just a second, but we did get the prop shafts in, so that's good. Now we can really set these engines where they need to be, get all that aligned up, and then get the shifting mechanism in, and then we can put these dog houses in and final sand it. So we'll get back to it here in a couple weeks. So the owner of this boat wanted a bar. He built a new house, and so upstairs he's got like a man cave pool table area and wanted this bar and kind of wanted it in a nautical kind of theme. He's got multiple antique wooden boats. So we built him this bar. It's plywood on the backside, 3/4 inch, so it's very stable. And then it's 3/4 inch planking on top of that, mahogany planking. And then we built this nice edge that wraps around it too. So may put some deck stripes in here. Don't know yet on that, but it's getting close. If we do the deck stripes, it'll be here for another couple weeks. If not, we'll finish this up here next week and deliver it out to the house. So a newcomer, and this will be a full restoration. This is a 1948 18-foot Chris Craft utility, like a U22, but 18 feet, U18. We're going to put the new bottom on it this winter. We'll probably get to the sides as well. So new bottom, probably go down the sides, and then we'll fair that out, get the water line striped on there, get the bottom paint on it. We'll probably take a break on that because we have other boats that we need to tend to. There is a big special boat that's coming in here that's going to be a full restoration. So we may not have time to finish this in the winter time, rolling it right back up and putting the deck on. So it'll go on hold for a little bit. We'll get as much done as we possibly can and then pick it up again in the spring. So we have the 18-foot Riviera. We have the last coats of varnish on this now. So it's just going to sit and the varnish is going to get nice and hard, and then we'll wet sand and buff it out later. But during the winter time, we're going to get all the interior done, gauges in. then the engine will be restored and we can put that in the spring and wrap the project up. So it's coming along great. So the 1967 Chris Craft Super Sport, 17 foot. We are almost done with this as well. So we've got the front seats in now. We've got all the wiring done. Putting on the windshield, got that gasket's not made anymore, so we had to have one of those made up. And Zach is putting that on now. And so we've got some trim to do. Most of this stuff will be done in the spring though. We'll get some of the hardware on here, everything. We do have to bend a bunch of trim for this boat. It's all aluminum trim that we have to replace. So we will do that over the winter time, get all that bent and ready to go. And then when we get the boat back in the spring, we'll just quick assemble it. It'll take about a week or so, water test it, and it'll be done. So this is going to be a beautiful boat. This is the 1937 17-foot Chris Craft Deluxe. And if you've been watching some of the shop tours, you've probably seen this it's been in here for a little over a year. Almost done with this one. We've got to do some wiring behind the dash. The upholster's in here. He's gonna do some, the crash pad, get that finished up. Everything else is pretty much made for the boat. So it's just, we're in pretty much final assembly. We've got to get the flooring in here. Like I said, finish the wiring, get the steering wheel on, get the flooring in here, and then it'll pretty much be complete. We probably won't run this until spring, but it'll go back to its owner and hang out there, whether he wants to run it for the first time. He is the one that rebuilt the engine, so that's all ready to go and has been tested. So we don't think there's going to be any hiccups. It should be a pretty smooth finish up on this one, and it'll be out of here in probably another week. So by looking at Little Angel and this boat, you wouldn't think that they're the same year. This boat is a 1937 17-foot utility, and kind of a cool story. The gentleman that owns this boat, he bought it for $1 when he was 17 years old. Now he's a little bit older than I am now, and they use the boat all the time in the summertime on Glen Lake. So it's been around up here in this area for a long time. We don't actually know exactly what we're going to do to this boat. We're going to be doing some refinishing on it. We're going to go through it all with the customer and figure out what we're going to do over the winter time, knock some of that out, but then have it done so the customer can use it in the spring, and then it'll probably come in here maybe next winter and we can then do some other stuff. Sometimes we do that. Sometimes we'll do little piecework, you know, and eventually the boat will be completely restored, but that allows the customer to have the boat in the summertime to enjoy. So that's a really nice option that we do for people. And it just makes sense. You know, you don't want your boat down for a couple years. So we offer that. But cool project, really cool boat. Love the straight windshields on the older boats. I think they look very vintage, very cool. All right, what we like to do now is just hang them there for a little bit, because if anything's going to happen, it's going to happen fairly soon, whether this, you know, if there's any rot inside. So I like to let them hang for just a little bit before we move the trailer out, just to make sure that this thing's going to be stable enough to get these cradles underneath. Somebody didn't sand between coats. All right, so this is a pretty special boat, and I'll explain why. This is a 1940 25-foot Sportsman. This is the 11th made out of 25. So if you know a little bit about the larger runabouts and utilities from Chris-Craft, they built a 24 pre-war that looked almost identical to this boat. Now in 1940 to 41, they built this for about a year and they only built 25 hulls. So that in alone makes it pretty darn rare. Also, it comes with the blue face gauges, which that only happened for a year. The boats all came with the same interior. They all came with this apple green interior, leather. Basically, they were all the same boats. There were two different options for engines. There was the MS and the W. So there's an M series, both flathead, 6 cylinders. So this boat is in very good condition, actually. It doesn't look like it from the outside, but when we inspected some of the inside and looked at the bottom and looked at the frames, they're in pretty darn good condition for how old the boat is. The boat supposedly sat since like 1970. So it hasn't been in the water in a long time. Now we will put a new bottom on this boat over the winter time, and then we'll determine what we're gonna do with the sides, you know, whether we're gonna use the old or replace it. Same with the deck. Now we've got this for 2 years. What I'm gonna do is I'm gonna run this through kind of like, if you've been watching for a while, Ruby, the hydroplane. I ran that through like a little series in teaching. And that's what this channel is all about. So stay tuned for that. We're gonna go through the whole boat. I think probably the first one we do, we'll do a, what do you do when you bring your boat home for the first time? Something like that. So stay tuned for that. Appreciate you watching. If you want to support the channel, there's Patreon. Hit the subscribe, hit the like. We'll see you later.